All right, so I just wanted to go over some expectations that I'm going to have for you all, and also that you can have for me this year in honors geometry. For most of you, this is your first high school math class, and you'll come to find out that all your teachers just have kind of different ways of doing things, and I want to be upfront and open about it so there aren't any surprises down the road. So, first off, in my class, homework is really all a completion grade. That means that you have to complete the problems in order to get the completion grade. What that means is since you'll be assigned mostly the odd numbered problems from your textbook, just writing down the answers won't really get you the credit because for all of the problems that I'm going to assign, it'll require some work and you kind of need to fill in that work to show your thought process and communicate that in your work. So just a good rule of thumb, if you're curious, am I showing enough work in this problem? Well, just think if you were to show that same work to somebody else in class, they shouldn't have to ask you each and every time, where did this come from? What's this number? How did you get that? It should be pretty apparent from the beginning, each step, how you're getting from one thing to another. So just as an example, let's say that this was a homework question. And it says name the vertex of angle 4. Well, for this problem, it's really just identifying a thing. So like that's the vertex of that angle. This likely would not be a question that you would have to turn in, and we'll talk about that in a second. But if this was a question in your homework, that's enough work because there really isn't any work to show. However, if you had a question like this, wow, there's a whole lot of words going on there. Some equations, you're supposed to find some values. Now, although a is equal to 9 and xy is 27, if you just wrote those down, you would not get credit for that problem because most everybody in your class, if you were to show that to them, they would look at that and go, how in the world did you get those answers? Instead, something that would get you full credit would be maybe drawing a diagram and label the diagram and then show some equation that you derived based on the description and your diagram. And then you solve that equation just using those algebra skills that you learned last year, and then writing your final answer. Always a good idea to box your final answers so you know, or the reader will know what your final answer is. Okay, so for each assignment, things that you should be doing, make sure, I did say that you're going to be assigned mostly odd numbered problems. Make sure you check the back of the book for the correct answers. What I'm going to be looking for, I'm not really going to be taking up a lot of questions for credit. I'm really just going to be looking for process. Are you kind of headed in the right direction? Are you showing the right kind of work? Are you using algebra correctly? To see if the final answer is correct, you have the capability to do that, and you should be doing that just to make sure you're headed in the right direction. So if you get an answer and you check the back of the book and it's way different than yours, all right, well, that's maybe something that you can ask about in class. So we are going to have time every class to ask questions about homework, and you'll have sufficient time to bring those up, and then we'll go over them together. So you should be checking the back of the book, which means that kind of assumes that you already tried the homework questions. So you want to do that before you come to class. That way you know what we can look at and discuss as a class. Also, make sure you're getting that homework in on time. We'll be turning that in through Schoology, and we'll walk through that in class if you haven't done that before. But as long as you kind of follow these guidelines, homework shouldn't be too big of an issue for you. Now, I did mention really quick here, I'm not going to be taking up very many problems. I'm really only going to be taking up 4 problems for each assignment. Now, I'm going to have a longer list that I want you to try, so I want you to try more problems than that. But I pick 4 questions that I feel are really good ones to give you an opportunity to show your thought process and show your work so that I could give you some more specific feedback and just kind of get you ready for tests and make sure you're really understanding these concepts. Hopefully this video helps. As always, you can always ask questions either in person or through email. And I'll also be posting this slideshow on Schoology so you can bring it up anytime you want.